Secondary school is where I would say it matters if your child does their homework or not, but not for the reason that you might be thinking. Hi there, thank you for watching Let's Talk Parenting. This channel is all about encouraging you to succeed as a parent by sharing you good tips on parenting and all the information you need to know as a parent. Because when you succeed, they will succeed. I'm Veronica Kasenga Fruitful. Thanks again for watching. Do subscribe to my channel and share this video with your lovely friends and family and press like. Also, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this week's video. I look forward to reading your comments. So, I want to continue this week talking about tips to encourage our children who are now in secondary school to just get on with their homework without us having to scream or shout at them to do their homework. Now, when you're done watching this, do go and watch part 1 video, which I did, called Dealing with Homework. And it's all about the 10 tips that I share to build good homework habits in primary school. Because those 10 tips, when they are practiced, I'm telling you, you're going to see a difference. When they go to secondary school, it's really going to help them. So, let me ask you a question. Oh, very quickly, I just want to add, if your child is in primary school, it's a really good idea to encourage them to do homework every day, Monday to Friday, because this is going to help them to build the habit and make it a part of their routine, instead of just doing it once a week or when the teacher gives the homework. So, if your child is going into secondary school for the very first time, a couple of things will be different. So there is a definitely shift between when your child is in primary school and when they're in secondary school. For example, when they were in primary school, you probably took them to school every day. Now they're in secondary school, they are encouraged to go by themselves. When they were in primary school, you were probably hands-on, right? Well, in secondary school, it's hands-off. In primary school, you probably built relationships with the teachers and relationship with all the other parents. You did things together. In secondary school, how can I put this lightly? They're not interested. In primary school, you probably knew everything that was going on, right? Well, in secondary school, you're gonna have to check the website or check your emails. So there's a definitely bit of a change when your child goes to secondary school. And you might be thinking, whoa, that can't be right. But it's all part of preparing them for the real world. As they're growing up, they're going to become more independent. So this is all part of school, helping them to just get that independence inside them. And it's a really good idea for us to encourage them to build good homework habits, because when they do their homework, they are actually practicing skills that they're going to need for adulthood. So let's get cracking. I'm going to share 7 tips this week that's going to help them do their homework while they're in secondary school. The first one I've mentioned before is to plan ahead. Now, previously I said that we need to plan ahead so we can know when our child is doing their homework. But now they're in secondary school, we need to encourage them to plan their own timetable. Let them create their own routine timetable of how they're going to spend their time after school. So they can put in there what they're going to do, like when it's dinner time, when is it playtime, when is it bedtime, don't forget when it's homework time. They can put it in there. This helps them to build organizational skills. And actually, research that was done by the University of California showed that the benefit of children doing their own routine, creating their own routine timetable, is that they learn to be disciplined and more focused for later on in life. So it's a great thing to do. And it's also good to get them to do it because you are encouraging them to take ownership of their own timetable. Which brings me to tip number 2, and that is to trust them. So the whole point of creating this routine timetable is so that we don't have to scream and shout, when are you going to do your homework? We don't even have to remind them because it's in the timetable. They've written it, they've done it, and they know exactly when they're going to do their homework. So it's to encourage them to build that independence. Now, if it's approaching bedtime and you haven't seen any work being done, then you might need to have a conversation with them. Tip number 3 is all about not making homework a big deal. I've mentioned this before, but I do need to say it again. Now they're in secondary school, it does not mean the homework is more important. It's not. It was always important for them to do homework. When we make a big fuss about doing homework, to them, they're thinking that doing homework is more important than they are, and it actually takes away the motivation. So let's try to just keep it normal, encourage them to do it by doing the timetable, watching them and letting them do it. Remember the statement that I made at the beginning about how now that they're in secondary school, it's more important if they do their homework or not. Well, it's because now that they're in secondary school, they are going to learn about the consequences of not doing things when we say we're going to do it. So if they don't do their homework, they're going to get like detention that they give in school. They're going to see the work piling up for the next day, which means whatever activity that they may have planned to do the next day, they're not going to be able to do it because they have to catch up with their homework. So instead of us thinking about punishments to give them when they don't do their homework, let's think about how we can encourage them by reminding them of the benefit of actually doing it. Tip number 4 is to practice what we teach. Now, it's all great to get our children to do what they say they're going to do when they say they're going to do it, but how often do we do the same thing? Do we read around our children so that we can show them that we value learning? Do we talk positively about education around our children? Let's encourage them by learning together with them. Let's encourage them by taking an interest in what they are actually learning in school. This shows them that education is important to you and they will also see it as important. Tip number 5 is to focus on the effort that they are making in doing the homework rather than the performance. Look at the progress that they're making. Look at how the fact that you've taught them to sit and do their homework and now they're just sitting and doing the homework for the length of time they're doing it. So praise them for that. Congratulate them for sitting down for half an hour and doing their homework. Remember to also praise the work that they've done, the fact that they've done it. Don't pay attention to the mistakes. Now, a way to get around this is to encourage them to ask for a feedback. So they've done their work. Encourage your child to ask for feedback. They can ask you, they can ask their teachers, they can ask their older sibling that's been there and done that, and they can even ask their smart friends. That way they will be more likely to receive the correction and not see it as a criticism. Tip number 6 is to speak positively about your child, especially around the teachers and friends, whether it's yours or theirs. I'll never forget when my child was in his first year, my firstborn, when he was in his first year of secondary school. It was parents' evening and I went and the teachers were giving me feedback. They said some nice things, but then when they got to talking about the negative things, I was sitting there nodding my head in agreement. And then when they finished, I started pointing out the things that I'd noticed that were negative that he needed to improve on. This didn't go down very well with my son. He sat there and I could see him at the corner of my eye shrinking as if to just disappear in the seat. I learned very quickly. So parents, carers, no matter how hard it is to sit there, especially in parents' evening, and listen to negative things being said about your child, just listen, don't agree. After the teachers give you their feedback, find something positive that you can say about your child, especially around homework, something good that you have noticed. This lets them know that you are on their side, and this will actually bring back the motivation for them to want to work hard. And finally, tip number 7 is to give them a break. Okay, so he doesn't want to do his homework this day, or she doesn't want to do her homework today. It's not a big deal. I suggest you give them an alternative. You could say something like, okay, so you don't feel in the mood to do your homework today, huh? When? When will you do it? This will open up that opportunity for them to think of an alternative time and date that they will do the homework. And if it's okay, why not? Just agree. So long as they do it on time before it's due into school, it should be fine. Well, I hope these tips are helpful for you, especially if your child is gone into secondary school. Like I said, do watch part 1 of the video where I share the 10 tips on creating good homework habit, because they're very, very helpful. Remember to share this video with other parents so they can be learning what we are learning together. I very much appreciate you watching this. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.